Good morning. In this video, we will analyze a very recent social issue. Can be called a crisis, a political crisis, in the basis of economics. Rather, we can analyze it in the economic terms, where we will understand that it's purely an economic issue, and how we can solve it by having a holistic approach. It's about the caste census. With this caste census, when the term caste comes, the word census disappears and it becomes a political issue. People who demand it, people who oppose it, they have nothing else but politics. But census is all about statistics. It's about stats. It's about data. It's about an audit, where both the audit and the result, the data that the audit brings out, needs transparency. It's about transparency, and the transparent data that we get, that we receive, gives us a better space to go deep into the social fabric of an economy, rather society. How a society is divided. But there are different terms, there are different theories. But it's about how egalitarian the distribution is, how concentrated the distribution is in the hands of a few. That determines that makes clear that the term egalitarian doesn't exist there. So it's a search to be inclusive, to be accommodative. First, let's understand that census is a must when it is conducted in a transparent way, especially in a diverse country like India. Why? Because it is the wealth, the amenities, the privilege, the money, everything is concentrated in the hands of a very few. They may be superior on the basis of religion, on the basis of caste, on the basis of beliefs, something like that. So, to know that, to realize that it is the division, the inequality is on the basis of something that is too primitive, something that is unscientific, we must understand that we need to address it in the same way, not in the unscientific way, but the very same way. We must root it out. We must just, we must just disperse it by conducting an analysis or making an analysis on the same premise. What divided them? Let's reanalyze it. If caste is a divisive factor, let's analyze it on the basis of caste. Because there is definitely a concentration of power. The concentration of power in the hands of very few. That is why in this headline, that is why in this the title of this video, we mentioned UN Security Council. The very same thing is happening there. The most powerful economies are not the most populous, or they are not the most blessed in terms of resources. Whether minerals, whether climate, whether natural resources, they don't possess the best, but they have all. How that comes, or how that happens? There is a lot of economics playing there. There is a lot of financial interest playing there. Whatever it is, with the war going on for almost a year, more than a year, and a war has sadly erupted in a few days back. So when we hear all these things, we see a Security Council, United Nations Security Council, that is unable to make a clear stand, a clear decision. Why? Because the same thing, concentration of power in the hands of very few. Whether it's a case of veto power, whether it's a case of number of members in the Security Council, it is a privilege. It's not an inclusive one. We must understand that. And that is the same thing is happening here. It is not inclusive. Why? And that is what we are going to analyze. That is what we have to analyze. Because we know that there is a surplus with the food authority here in India. Surplus grain, surplus food. But there is people who starve, die. Why? Because the distribution system is not transparent, it's not efficient. Because we don't have the stats. Even if we don't have the stats, there's a lot of politics, there's lots of power play coming in where the egalitarian distribution is subverted. How to thwart that subversion? How to sort of dismantle this kind of discrepancies? To do that, we must know where, what, how lies the problem. Then only we can, we need to diagnose it. To diagnose it, we must have a clear stat. It's very sad because when with the power equilibrium shifting from sea to road to air to space, people, the world is going for a power shift. It's becoming a multipolar world, and we seek energy in the alien planets. And despite all these things, we still need to conduct a research, an economic survey on the basis of caste. That is sad. It is sad, but we have to understand that reality has to be accepted. If there is an you have some health issues, you have to consult a doctor. You cannot hide it. It is a reality. India, more than 60% of the population in India is economically, socially backward. You need to have an upliftment. Because whether the GDP, whether the unemployment rates, everything is rather cosmetic. It's not inclusive. The unorganized sector in India, it's not even mentioned, it's not even considered in the stats. So we have to understand that there is a lot of things happening. Even the global scenario, the bulk of wealth, the bulk of the business is accumulated in the hands of very few. It's the wealthiest, less than 50 of the wealthiest people in the world enjoy bulk of the entire resources in this planet. It's a reality, and to accept, and you have to accept it first. It's the primary thing is accept reality and expect. Then only we can expect it to change. I don't know why people are constantly sticking on to politics. Last census in India, I always forget. It is conducted in 1931, I suppose. It was, but there was opposition because the opposition was genuine. The reaction against that caste census was very genuine because it could be understood as it could be considered as a plan to divide a nation that is waiting to embrace freedom. So that's justified. But decades on, it's almost 9 decades, and we have to understand that the inequality still remains. And if that inequality still remains, we have to address it. This caste census, whether it is political, whether it is mean-minded, whether it has some vested political plans, we have to avoid it. We must understand that it has to be conducted. That is the real thing. That is the politics. The political scenario has evolved, and it has to evolve. Indian Constitution is famous for the amendments that it has made. It's about renovation. It's about innovation. And when you talk about that, we have to understand that there is politics. There is just politics. There is no. You can't say there is politics. There is only politics. You can see that how the Mandal Commission created political leaders in India. How Congress was opposed to it, was opposing it. Now BJP has in the last few decades, especially last 1.5 decade, BJP has become a very mighty political opponent for Congress. Post Shah Banu, post Ayodhya, post Babri Masjid, Hindu votes are very significantly getting concentrated in BJP. But BJP is still unwilling to act against a caste system. They still pamper this cheap, very pathetic caste, upper caste. They still pamper this upper caste feelings. They still want these clergymen, these upper caste people. They still believe that there need to be a caste system. It's something that is inherent in Hinduism. So when that caste system is still prevailing, when BJP still can't be inclusive to the entire Hindu population in India, which they are talking about, which they are quite eloquent. They always speak about that. But in that their Hindu unity, apart from this Islamophobia, apart from this Congress, they are unable to unite people. And when that is happening, when BJP is still considered a Brahminical or upper caste party, a political outfit, Congress has, which Congress is currently the India alliance is it's a mockery, but still it's a crap. You can call it a crap because you just go through these political opportunities gathered there. Leave it. So BJP Congress is badly in need of Hindu votes. They need to grab it. They want to grab it, and they would be able to grab it, provided BJP doesn't address the reality that they still belong to the elite upper caste Hindus. So that is the politics there. Why BJP is reluctant and why Congress is desperate, and why we must understand that there is no noble intentions. And that is where a normal citizen in the sense who is absolutely secular, whether he is a believer or not, who is absolutely secular. And secular people with a minimum common sense must understand that it's disgraceful that caste is still considered as a criterion to conduct a census, to conduct an economic analysis. We have to accept the reality and we have to move on, and we must make sure that the development of India, or rather the developed India, consists of the 140 crore people. It's not the one in the cities. It's not the one in the metros. Schools, roads, education, hospitals, money, everything has to be equally distributed. And this egalitarian has nothing to do with reservation, because reservation is a different thing. It is something that we arrive post the census. It's a solution that the census bring out. Who needs reservation? In a state like Kerala that is socially superior, I don't think there's a need to prolong this census on the basis of a caste. But how that is possible, how it can be measured, how can we analyze, how can we conclude that a certain section of the society has has reached the peak, and they no longer need this privilege, or rather the support called caste system. You have to analyze it. It's a very delicate thing, because there is a lot of politics there. You cannot take away reservation or anything that easily, because each and every caste, each and every religion, each and every subcaste is a political identity, a political unity. It's a big vote bank. You have to pamper them, you have to consider them. It's a disgrace to the entire Indian democracy, but we have to accept reality. So that is where the issue lies, and that is where the crisis lies, and we have to accept that this caste census has to be conducted, and it has nothing to do with this kind of reservation. It's a bid. It can be a political initiative. It is a political initiative by Congress, but it can be considered as a social initiative, long overdue, and we have to make sure that an egalitarian India sprouts, and it has to happen. Thank you.